What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Here we are with another reaction. In this one, we have Canadian things that totally shocked my British partner. I'm from America, so I'm excited to see some of these Canadian things. I feel like Canada, USA, right on Canada, right on top of the USA. A lot of similarities between the two countries. So let's see if I'm like, these don't really shock me, or I'm actually shocked. Before we dive in, if you happen to enjoy, please don't forget to subscribe, give a video a thumbs up, and if you like to support this channel by becoming a member, all you gotta do is hit that join button to receive your exclusive benefits. Let's dive right in.
Hi everyone, it's me. My name is Alana and I'm a Canadian, but I have been living here in the UK for the last 8 years. Recently, my partner and I went back to Canada, Ontario, Canada, where I'm from, to visit my family.
Not him, or is it?
I go sort of once a year, every summer, when I know it's not going to be snowing. But there's loads of like Canadian culture bits that really shocked him. So grab a seat, put your feet up, get cozy. Let's talk about weird Canadian culture things that really surprised my partner. And without further ado, let's go. So what could possibly be shocking to a British person in Southern Ontario? How about the amount and variety of wildlife? So we're talking things like squirrels, frogs, chipmunks, foxes, raccoons, deer, moths, any type of insect, rabbits, all of that in our back garden. I can't tell you how many messages or emails or comments I've had from British people being like, have you ever seen a moose? Do you guys get moose? No. They do exist, obviously. I mean, polar bears technically exist, but I've never seen one. Where I am in Southern Ontario, or where I'm from in Southern Ontario, like very, very south, basically like into the US, really, when you look at a map. Loads of people live in Southern Ontario. The population density is really, really high, and there are no mooses. So that sucks. But also that's good. But what was really surprising to my British partner was just the amount of wildlife that we saw in our backyard. So it's not like we were going out into the wilderness. We live in a beautiful backyard, high-density area, and yet we were seeing deer and foxes and raccoons and so many rabbits.
I feel that.
And obviously you get wildlife here in the UK. Unfortunately, a lot of it I think has been killed off. Can we say that? I think that's fair to say.
Can we say that?
I wrote down my list.
I haven't seen the foxes, but I've seen deer, I've seen rabbits, I've seen squirrels, I've seen raccoons, I've seen possums. So yeah, she said it's kind of like dipping into the USA where she lives in Canada. So yeah, I'm very familiar with seeing all these things. Not in my backyard or back garden, because her back garden was very big. Her backyard was pretty big. I ain't living like that. But that's really cool. And I didn't know that was shocking. When I think about it, I didn't know that would be shocking to people in the UK. That's interesting.
Otherwise, I'll forget everything. I love making lists. Oh, have you ever been to Canada? If you ever saw something weird in Canada, please leave a comment down below. I'd love to know your perspective of my home. Basically, this whole channel is my perspective of the UK, watched primarily of British people. But let's reverse it. If you've been to Canada, which I hope you had a great time, but no worries if not, leave a comment down below. What's something that really surprised you about Canadian culture? Next up, flagpoles. Now, I didn't really think about this until he mentioned it, but how many British homes have you seen with like a full-sized flagpole in their front garden?
I feel that.
Because I don't think I've ever seen it. Now, my family has never had one, but you walk around any neighborhood in Canada and you will see properties with flagpoles. The little Canada flag flying in the breeze. Growing up in Ontario, it was an inside joke with my dad. I always thought it was super cheesy. Like, we know what country we're in. Why do we need a flagpole? Obviously, now I can see that it's much more about, you know, a pride thing. You know, you're patriotic for your country and all this stuff. But I always thought it was really cheesy. So my dad used to tease me that, you know, one day I'd come home from school and he would have a flagpole in the front yard. Lord. This is also something that you definitely see in the US. Having a flagpole in your front yard. Nothing too unusual or too crazy. But yeah, I hadn't really thought about it until he mentioned it. Flagpoles here. just in regular homes, not mansions, not like huge
Facts.
sprawling countryside homes, just, you know, a house
Facts.
with a flagpole. Well, there was a load of weird
Happened so many times. Yeah, so many different houses. Yeah, like she said, not regular houses, not big houses, regular houses. You got the flagpole out front, or people are flying them from the top of the house, or they're flying them off the garage, or they're flying them in the car, but yeah, actual flagpoles. Like, yes, people have them in their front yard, which is absolutely wild, right? I guess coming from another country, I would see that as if I looked at it from a person from a different country, I'd be like, what's going on over there? So okay, in the UK, no flagpole. Nobody got flagpoles in the front yard. Yeah, I'm not surprised by it because I'm from America, but I can see how it would be shocking to people from other countries.
weird stuff that my partner and I noticed. We did have a lovely time in Canada. It is a real privilege to be able to go home once a year. I know not all expats abroad can say that. And if you are able to go to Canada, I would 100% recommend it. If you would like to visit my home country or perhaps take a trip abroad, definitely check out today's sponsor, Directo. Directo is a free route.
We're going to skip the sponsor. I usually always do. Okay, start about right here.
Hollywood, Airbnb, next holiday. Definitely check out my link in the description. Try out Directo. It's so simple. I hope you guys enjoy it. Maybe come to Canada. Ooh, wouldn't that be fun? Anyway, thanks so much to Directo for sponsoring this video. Let's get back to it. Now, how about billboards? Billboards everywhere.
No
so driving
billboards
down the highway
in the UK?
And we're passing
Really?
billboards for like realtors.
Yeah.
My partner goes, huh, you don't really see that in England, do you? And again, this was something that I hadn't really like clued into until he said it. Now, this in particular is way worse in the US compared to Canada. Canada in the US, as much as Canadians don't like to admit it, very similar. Like real similar. But something that is definitely a bit more extreme in the US is the amount of billboards. We used to drive from southern Ontario all the way down to Florida growing up, me at least, not my partner, and the amount of billboards, the variety of billboards was pretty wild. But that is just common. In Ontario, we definitely have billboards, but less than the US, certainly more than the UK. And of course, the argument I know in the comments. In the comments, I already know, safety, right? Like, if you have this giant advertisement that you are driving on the motorway and you're trying to read it, not like the best safety situation, right? But for whatever reason, that's okay in Canada. We have billboards. You're going to see them driving along the highway, especially in the US. My God, some of them are wild. Next up, something that...
I'm talking about billboards for everything. I'm talking about dentists, gas station, restaurants, lawyers, realtors, fairs, you name it, whatever kind of business, however weird, I guess, or small of a niche business, there's a billboard for it here. There's billboards everywhere. Dangerous, I guess they could be if you like got stuck just like looking up, but usually they're like at a distance to where like I'm able to like, I don't know, is it peripheral vision? I'm able to see the road and kind of see the billboard at the same time and read it. I don't know, maybe because driving here in the U.S. you just get used to being able to do that. But yes, billboards galore. So UK, y'all don't do billboard. I didn't know that. I didn't know y'all don't do billboards. Well, that's different. But y'all are more so in a public transport, I feel like, than the U.S., where the U.S. is literally, we have public transport in some places, but for the most part, you got to have a car to get around here. So what y'all do in public transport, do y'all have like a lot of ads and stuff like on the public transport? Maybe it's like stickers on the train or things such as that? Hit me up in the comment section. I'd love to know the answers to that. Let's keep it going.
Especially in the US, my God, some of them are wild. Next up, Something that is quite shocking in Canada is customer service. From cashiers to bartenders to like shop staff, everybody is so nice. And again, I know what you guys are going to say in the comments. I already know. I know that the argument for a lot of British people is that they don't like the customer service in North America because they think it is all fake. You're paid to be nice to people. You're paid that you have to smile and be friendly and all that kind of stuff. And British people say they don't like it because it's fake and it's very obviously fake. Which, sure, okay. But also, what a nice experience it is. It's positive.
True.
You have a nice time. Someone actually is being friendly to you and you feel wanted in that store or
they're very good
or restaurant
they're
or
very
whatever.
good.
There's been times in the UK where I've gone into a pub or a shop or a restaurant or whatever and the customer service is quite bad that you don't even really want to be there. They don't make you feel like they want you to be there.
Yeah.
And that's just like not a nice experience. So yes, I get that the argument is customer service in North America is so fake, so phony. Sure. But isn't it such a much more positive experience when someone is being kind or funny or friendly? You know, you then reciprocate that and it's just like a nice experience for everybody. But this was definitely something my partner noticed. He was so shocked at how friendly and kind and funny strangers were, cashiers, bartenders, everybody. It was just a really nice customer service wherever we went. So while we're out at a restaurant, say for lunch, had a nice lunch out, customer service was wonderful, everybody was really nice and funny, and then it gets to the end of the meal and they bring over takeaway containers.
I feel like, I do understand that argument from the UK. And I mean, to a point where, because, it can be fake. Yeah, you're getting paid to be nice to people. Yeah, you want that tip. You're gonna be a little extra nice. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna put on a fake smile, but I feel like that can happen. But I feel like as a human being, you like know when someone's like genuinely nice and when someone's just like faking it. But either way, I think like she said, you do get a good experience. Like whether you're faking it or not, like be nice. I'm one. And like I literally told my wife this, like I love being blissfully ignorant. Like I if the truth is gonna hurt worse than me not knowing, don't tell me. I want to stay in my blissful ignorance. So if your niceness and kindness is fake, cool. As long as I don't know, I'm cool with that. If I can see it's fake, then it kind of ruins my experience. But if I don't know it's fake, you're just being nice, you're just being kind, you're smiling, you're helping as much as possible. I love that. So yeah, that's just me though. I'm one who loves to be blissfully ignorant about so many things because once I know the truth, then it's like, now like I have to deal with it. That's in my head now. So yes, blissful ignorance is the way to go. For me, I do love North American hospitality. Never been to the UK, never experienced UK hospitality. Would love to at some point though. Would love to go travel to the UK. Beautiful country, and I'm sure there is very hospitable places there.
Every time we went out, whether for lunch or for dinner or whatever, there would be a table with a takeout container. It's just part of the culture, and it's totally socially acceptable. I was explaining to my family that here in the UK, you go out to a meal, you really are not taking that home with you, only in very few instances. But if you think of just like a regular restaurant meal, you're out at a restaurant, you're not packing up what you don't eat and take it home. Typically, I want to say like 99% of the time, which to any North American is a really strange concept. It feels like food waste. It's like if you haven't finished it, you should take it home. You're not wasting food. I think portion sizes are something that's quite a bit different between the UK and North America, which certainly adds to this issue. You're getting a smaller portion in the UK, typically. You're not taking anything home because you've likely finished. In North America, sometimes the portions are huge and they kind of expect you to take some of it home. I've never asked for a takeaway container in the UK because I feel like that is something that is very socially not really acceptable. In North America, absolutely nobody would bat an eye. Oftentimes when the, like, what's the name of the server? The server? Oftentimes the server will come over at the end of the meal. If you still had stuff on your plate, they'd ask you, hey, do you want a doggy bag? Doggy bag is usually what we call it. Yeah. Or like a takeout box. Do you want to wrap that up? You want a doggy bag? Like, that's totally fine. It's not offensive. It's not rude. It's not gross or looked down upon. You haven't finished your meal, take it home and you can finish it later. But to my British partner, this was wild. When a glass drops at a restaurant, nobody cheers.
Yes. I love being able to, take food home. Like she said, we get such big portions. A lot of the time, you just can't finish it. I guess a lot of people can. Hence, America being the most obese nation in the world, and if not the most, one of the most obese nations in the world. So I guess a lot of people can finish it, but for the most part, I'm taking stuff to go. To go boxes, gotta take it, and then I feel good when I'm paying like for one meal, and I end up making 2 meals out of it. It feels like. Okay, this meal wasn't too expensive because it actually made 2 meals. It actually fed me for lunch and dinner, so I didn't have to just eat lunch and do something else for dinner. I could eat lunch and dinner on the same meal. So that is a nice feeling. But portion sizes, like I said, reason we're one of the most obese nations. We get big portions, which I'm sure is a lot of the reason why to-go boxes and take-home containers are such a thing over here.
Was wild. When a glass drops at a restaurant, nobody cheers. I think this one is pretty obvious
get scared,
for British people watching. If you are out somewhere and a glass shatters, everyone cheers.
I love that.
My partner and I were out to dinner at a restaurant. What do I do when I go to Canada? Basically, go out to patios, go out to restaurants, and I eat a lot. So my partner and I were out, and a glass dropped and shattered. And we look around, and nobody says anything. Just silence. I think this probably plays into, the sort of banter type element of British humor. People will take the piss out of you if you do anything weird or anything embarrassing. If you drop a glass, people will cheer. Oh, my God, check out that guy, dropped his glass. I think that's just part of the humor. And while UK, British humor, and Canadian humor is so similar, this is definitely something that is different. You're not going to get cheers and clapping and way when someone shatters a glass. People are just going to pretend they didn't notice.
Exactly.
Typically. I'm sure you're going to find some dive bars where people might cheer. Now, there is something that is very weird in Southern Ontario specifically. And this comes up often, and I get it. Bagged milk.
But weird. This one might be the first difference. But yeah, I think it's really cool that y'all do a cheers. Shout out to the Brits. Because I feel like that when I drop a glass, I don't know, if there's something about me that gets anxious. Like if I drop it and it shatters, I'm like, I'm so sorry. Did not mean to do that. And it's kind of an anxious / bad feeling for dropping a glass. But I feel like in the UK, the cheers takes away that feeling, and I drop it all, everybody cheer, and I'm laughing with everybody, so I don't feel that that little bit of anxiety, that little bit of feeling bad for dropping my glass. It's more of a let's laugh, let's make a joke out of it. It's human nature is gonna happen. It's something that happens. Accident happen. So I really love the Brits for that. That's really cool.
And this comes up often, and I get it. Bagged milk. What's that about? It is a weird thing, let's face it. But also, fun fact, bagged milk is not widely Canadian. Milk? I think a lot of British people think Canada, mousse, maple syrup, bagged milk. You're not totally wrong, but you're kind of wrong. Now, you're only going to see this bagged milk phenomenon in certain provinces. Ontario, definitely. Ontario is definitely a bagged milk, I was going to say country, province. Quebec is also another place you'll see bagged milk. They want to be their own country. Other places, it's really not a thing. The more you know. We're just learning loads today. So when I say bagged milk, some people you maybe can't picture what that is. Basically,
yes. Can I see a picture?
Homes like mine in Southern Ontario, you would get a plastic milk jug and you would have this jug for literally decades. And you go out and you buy milk. And milk usually comes in 3 individual plastic bags. Wobbly, jiggly bags of milk. You take one bag and you put it in the plastic jug and you cut the corner, so the handle, you cut the outer corner, and then you can pour it like that, you store it. When that bag is empty, you take it out and you put a new bag in. That's the general idea. Some people say like, oh my God, they must burst all the time. No, I've never had a bag of milk explode on me before or leak. They're quite tough. They're built to store milk, right? So they're not going to puncture immediately. I Googled it. Why bagged milk? What's the deal, Google? So milk bags were introduced in the late 1960s as a response to the changes in the dairy industry, specifically the transition to the metric system. So the change to metric in the 60s required milk to change how it was packaged, just to make it easier, and they actually found that bags were to be more convenient and affordable. Milk bags are easier to produce and transport compared to like cartons or glass. The lightweight plastic bags also reduce shipping costs. So Canada is a big place, and you gotta move food and milk from far distances. So cheaper to make, cheaper to transport. It was adaptable to this new metric system. Seems like a great idea. Also, some people claim, and this actually makes sense, I never thought of this before, so I'm learning something new. I hope you are too. That bagged milk is actually like a fresher option. Why? Because they come in 3 separate bags. So you open one bag at a time. When that's done, you open another. So the milk actually stays fresher. It's sealed. It's not just open in the fridge the entire time, which I never considered until this exact moment. Something that my British partner finds really surprising about Canada, and now, unfortunately, it is something that I cannot unsee, and it is that the sky...
So, bag milk, that's the first one where I'm like, we don't do that here in the U.S. That one's very interesting to me. So, it remains fresher. So, is when you open the bag, does that just, like, stay open in the fridge? Or, like, I don't know, like, when you cut that corner off, does it stay open until that bag of milk is finished? Because here, I don't know how it is in the UK, I'm going to assume y'all do it the same as this. We got, like, cartons and jugs and stuff, and you just close the milk jug. You twist the top back on. Does that not keep the freshness within? I don't know. Bagged milk is different, but so many places have so many different things. That's a very interesting one. Like, when she explained it, it makes sense. Cheaper to transport, cheaper to do all of this. And then someone said it actually remains fresh because you receive 3 different bags, which, okay. So, I mean, there's reasons for bagged milk, and I understand those reasons. That's just something not only very different to the UK, but that's the first one that I've seen on this list that's different to the US as well.
Feels so much higher. This is hard to explain because it's like a feeling. You know, the sky is the sky, all right? Not much we can do about it. But in Ontario, it feels like the ceiling of the sky, the limit of the sky is so much higher, and like all this vast open space, whereas when you come to England, the sky feels so much lower. I don't want to say it feels claustrophobic because that's kind of weird, but sort of. The only thing that I can really think of, and science, give me a call or leave a comment down below. The only thing that seems sort of obvious to me is perhaps like clouds, type of clouds, where the clouds sit in the atmosphere. Ooh, I don't know. Something to do with clouds, maybe. Perhaps. So in Canada, it feels like the clouds either aren't there or they're so high up, or maybe they're a different type of cloud. They're not as perhaps oppressive as the clouds here in the UK, where it feels like it's, they feel lower. They feel like they are just above your head. It's much more like low down, low ceiling. mind your head. You better duck. But yeah, this whole concept of like the sky feels higher is a weird one, and now unfortunately I can't unsee it, especially when we first land in England after being in Ontario for a couple of weeks. It's really, really noticeable. I'm like, oh my god, like where's the sky? There's no sky. If you are able to visit Canada, I really hope that you can take advantage of it. It's a wonderful place. Big shout out to Directo for sponsoring this video. If you are going on holiday, make sure to check them out and save a bit of money, because who doesn't like saving money? If you'd like to watch more videos, which would be totally
facts, who doesn't like saving money? So the giant sky thing, yeah, I guess that is a certain just type of feeling. I can't really comment much on that because I've never seen the sky from the UK, so I just have to take her word for that one. Let me know which one of these things shock you the most. Which one of these days can you just absolutely like not believe is actually a thing in the US? I'd love to hear from you guys. If you enjoyed that, please don't forget to subscribe, give a video a thumbs up, and check out the next one. I'll see you guys next time.